TL Travelers, and welcome to or welcome back to the TL Travel YouTube channel. For those of you who might be new here, welcome to the family. Obviously right now is a bit of a weird time here on the channel, and we are doing a few little updates at the moment. This is going to be my last little update, I think, for a bit. And after this, we are going to jump back into some actual travel content, give you guys a little bit of a much needed distraction, I'm sure. But today I did just want to do one more quick update and talk to you guys a little bit about where I am at business-wise with my travel business and what we're going through as far as postponements and cancellations and what I'm kind of seeing on my side as someone who works in travel during this time. So if you love travel content and you don't want to miss a beat, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It would really help me out, especially during this time. Don't skip the ads if you can help it. Appreciate it very much. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. So I have had a few of you guys ask me a little bit about the TL travel group trip to Thailand, which I've been so excited to share with you guys this year and talking about in a lot of my videos. I probably will mention a couple of times in the Mexico series that you're about to see as well. So I just wanted to give you guys the heads up that that trip has been postponed to an unknown date at this point. We are still kind of in the midst of trying to figure out when all of this is going to sort of blow over, when we'll be able to get out and explore in the world again. And not knowing that makes it really difficult to sort of set an eventual travel date. Of course, we're going to do what we can to be back out on the road as soon as we can, but we want to make sure that we're doing that responsibly and safely, not just for us and for our travelers, but you know, for everybody around us. We've seen the importance of social distancing and how incredibly irresponsible it can be and how quickly it can spread things when people are traveling from country to country and not paying attention to those things. So rest assured, that is our number one priority. Now, when the trip cancellation announcement did go out, I did get a couple of questions about why we chose to cancel it when we did and not earlier. So we chose to officially cancel / postpone the group trip on March 16th, which was when it was made official that our borders were closing and that travelers were meant to come home. Now, if we had have been planning to travel, you know, in the next week or so from that time, I would have definitely canceled it quite a bit earlier and not waited for that announcement. But because we did have some time between when we were supposed to depart, our flights for that trip were supposed to leave April 25th. So at the time, we didn't quite know what the plan was for Canada. Thailand was looking pretty good as far as cases and keeping things contained. It was kind of hit or miss whether the trip was going to be able to happen and whether we were going to sort of be able to nip this in the bud. I have been in situations like this before where the country that we are intending to travel to has had some sort of national emergency or natural disaster or just, you know, outbreaks. Like Zika, for example, was a really concerning one there for a while where we didn't know what Zika was like, how it was going to spread, who it was going to affect. So anybody who was traveling just before that whole thing came about, the feeling was very similar. So you never really know how it's going to go. Luckily, in all of our prior situations, from Zika to Mount Agung and the volcano eruption in Bali to the political instability in Nicaragua, in all of those cases for our groups, we were able to go ahead and run those trips safely and responsibly. So there was a chance that that could happen also in this case. Of course, it's not, and I did have a sneaking suspicion that it wouldn't be, but you always want to, you know, keep a positive attitude for the people around you and don't let all the, you know, panic get to you. Check the government websites. That's where it's at. So as a business owner, I definitely did not want to panic, cancel something that would have been able to happen for a number of reasons, but the biggest one for me being that it's not just my trip, and the finances of our travelers is also something that I need to keep in mind. So for insurance purposes, for example, if I had canceled that trip right away, just in a super panic, and then everything had been fine and the trip would have been able to go ahead, our travelers would not have been able to claim any of that back under their travel insurance because there would be no reason for that cancellation. The trip would have been able to go ahead and it just so happened to not. So I know myself and a lot of other travel companies, we do our best not to panic and to stay calm and to look at all the facts and just to sort of wait for that go ahead or that confirmation from the government, because ultimately the government knows best in these situations what is best for us and what's sort of coming down the line. So the moment that Justin Trudeau, our Prime Minister here in Canada, said, you know, travelers need to come home and flights started to officially be canceled, I knew at that point that it was safe to cancel and that the cancellation would be in the best interest of travelers. Now, I also received a lot of questions from people, travelers, and clients of other travel companies, not necessarily travelers of mine, who were just kind of wondering about different cancellation policies and how much money they're going to get back from airlines and if they qualify for coverage for trip packages or hikes that they were going to take. There's so much to consider, and I know a lot of people, especially people who are backpacking or had a big backpack trip planned where they have, there's just so many different working parts, are going through the struggle right now of doing those cancellations all on their own, and they are having to deal with multiple different agencies, so it can certainly be very, very confusing. And a lot of people are saying that the agencies that they're working with are not reaching out to them and not being responsive. So I also wanted to really quickly give you guys a little bit of insight into why that might be. I think for me, having spoken with a bunch of different people in the travel industry, the tour industry, there's really two main reasons for this. The first main reason really goes back to the things that I just mentioned. So making sure that they cancel in a time period that is going to make sense for people to be able to claim back as much as possible of the expenses that they're going to be losing. And also the severity of the virus in the country that you're traveling to may not be what it is here at the same time. So for example, there was a time where all of the flights from Canada to Southeast Asia were being canceled because the transmission rate in Canada was growing and we were working on closing our borders and all of those things. However, in Thailand, the transmission was slowing, and so flights weren't being canceled, at least they weren't being canceled at the same rate. And so while it made a lot of sense in Canada and to Canadians for those flights and all of those hotels and things to be shutting down and canceling because that's what we were going through, it's not really making sense in that country at that time. So they may also be waiting for confirmation from their governments and to know what types of assistance and packages that they're going to have options to assist their travelers within that country. However, the second reason is a little bit sketchier, I guess I will say, and that is that there are certainly airlines, not just abroad, but in North America as well, and hotels and things like that who basically, how do I put this? They're assuming that if you don't reach out to cancel or get a credit or reschedule or rebook, that you are choosing to forfeit that booking. Now, I'm not saying that is right, the right thing to do. I'm not supporting that at all. But my advice to everyone who has come to me with questions about those types of things has been to reach out to your tour provider, the agency that you used, the airline, and see what they can do for you. If you're having trouble getting in touch with your specific travel agency, maybe try going directly to the tour operator that you booked through to see what their policies are so that you have some information when you do hear from your travel agent. Also, something that I mentioned in a previous video is that especially right now, if you're not traveling within the next week or so, try to hold out on getting through to these companies and making these changes or postponing your trips, because there are a lot of people who do need immediate resolution, and there are quite a few people who aren't traveling for maybe another month or 2 months that are trying to get through on the lines, and that's really sort of blocking up the system. If you wait until you're only a week or 2 out from arriving at your hotel and then you get in touch and you make that cancellation, that is going to make things easier for everybody and make sure that the people who need the services right away are getting them right away. So I really hope that all this rambling made some sense to you guys and that it was some sort of assistance to you guys and give you guys an idea of where I'm at as well. Just working away on cancellations and postponements over here. Fun times. Unless something absolutely wild and crazy happens here in Canada between now and our next video post, we are going to be jumping back into content from Mexico and Mexico City in our next videos, give you guys a little bit of a breather and just enjoy, get some inspiration for your next trip when the borders reopen and everybody can travel responsibly once again. If you've not already, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It will really help me out. And until I guys, close, very close. And until I see you guys in my next video, stay great, travel safe, and I will see you then. Bye guys.